In this section of counseling theories, we want to continue to look at the different secular theories. Behavioral and postmodernism. Today in our lesson, we want to continue looking at the counseling theories by looking at behavioral and postmodernism. The basics of behavioral theories are understanding that any therapy that is based on how the belief that our thoughts are connected to how we feel is known as behavioral theories. Examples include cognitive behavioral, rational-emotive, reality, and transactional analysis. Distorted thinking causes emotional discomfort, and thus therapists in the cognitive field work with clients to solve present-day problems by helping them identify this thinking and to deal with this discomfort. There's little emphasis on the historical root of a problem. Rather, what's wrong with my present thinking that's causing me distress? And in doing so, behavior is analyzed, the problem is defined, and the goal is selected on how to deal with this problem. Cognitive behavioral is one such therapy under behavioral therapies. It is the most studied and familiar of all counseling approaches. Some of the key figures that expound upon this are Arnold Lazarus, B.F. Skinner, and M.J. Mahoney. Terms that are frequently used in this therapy are behavior modifications and behavior therapy. This is an action-oriented method to help people to take steps to change what they are doing and what they are thinking. In this behavior modification, the focus is on the overt behavior and precision in specifying the goal of treatment and the development of specific treatment plans. So the therapist is active and directive and functions as a teacher and a trainer. The main focus would be on thoughts, behavior, feelings, and actions. The individual theories are tied together by common assumptions, techniques, and research strategies. But they maintain a diversity of views about the role cognitions play in behavioral change. Thus, the hyphenated term cognitive behavioral reflects the importance of both behavioral and cognitive approaches to understanding and helping human beings. Although there are many techniques in doing so, the number is likely to continue to grow as the theories continue to be developed and tested for effectiveness with a variety of psychological problems. Rational-Emotive behavioral therapy was founded by Albert Ellis. This theory is a form of cognitive-oriented behavioral therapy based on the assumption that human beings are born with the potential for both rational or straight or right thinking and irrational or crooked or wrong thinking. Taking for granted that people are fallible, rational-emotive therapy attempts to help them accept themselves as people who would continue to make mistakes and work to change. It emphasizes thinking, judging, deciding, and doing. So Ellis stresses that people choose to be disturbed rather than conditioned by external forces. It is the tendency of people to invent disturbing beliefs and keep themselves disturbed by these beliefs. So rational-emotive assumes that people will rationally think through what they need to do and how those emotions are based on their thoughts and how can my behavior change and I can decide and do what I need to do. There are many, again, alternatives to rational-emotive behavior therapy. But working through the basic models of the emotional disturbance, the replacing of the beliefs with rational alternatives, and a more moderate, healthy emotion, and a self-enhancing behavior. William Glasser was the founder of relative therapy theory. This therapy is a short-term approach with a focus on the present. The focus is on a person's strength and stresses moving toward success. The client can learn a more realistic behavior, therefore, by choosing their behavior and accepting their responsibility, they can move toward thinking, feeling, and doing what is necessary. By an honest self-examination with the client and looking at the current style of living, they believe the client can improve their quality of life. The reality therapy theory is based on the choice theory, formerly known as the control therapy. Choice theory is based on the views that human beings are motivated by 5 innate human needs. Behavior is seen as a choice rather than determined by external stimuli or childhood conflicts. And the procedures are based on and built on the environment and summarized by the WDEP formulation. Each letter representing a cluster of ideas. W, exploring their wants, perceptions, and level of commitment. D, discussing the 4 aspects of behavior, their actions, their thinking, their feelings, and even physiology. E, assisting the client to evaluate those behaviors, wants, and levels of commitment. And P, encouraging clients to make specific plans to take care of their problems. The theory of transactional analysis was founded by Eric Berne and is very different from others in the focus of decisions and contracts that are made by the client. The basic philosophy is that the client has the potential for choice. So a contract is made by the client clearly stating the directions and the goals of the therapeutic process. Transactional analysis therapy teaches that the personality is made up of parent, adult, and child. And therefore you work through an understanding of these roles in making your changes. There are many other key words used in transactional analysis, including game, decision, life script, redecision, stroke, discounting, and in such, understanding what you need to do in order to make your change. Postmodernism, moving into what we know today as moving from the understandings of historical therapies and theories into what is used in a modern day viewpoint, include brief and family therapies, which are focusing on listening, communication, and change. Let's review these two. Brief therapy is willing and wanting to change. Used by many pastoral counselors, it has been called solution or hope-focused counseling. It is very directional, it's very direct. And while most therapies approach have a different short-term version, these help understand that we want to focus on solutions instead of problems. We want to keep this short-term, 3 to 8 sessions. We want to move in a step-by-step process, which means short-term intervention that brings about long-term help. The basic outline would be listen, identify the problem, set a goal for change, question to understand and clarify the problem, redefine toward more clarification, and then evaluate, get feedback, and repeat the process until the person is helping to understand what they need to do. Many techniques here lean more toward the self-help ministry. Finally, there's the family theory. Family theory is a counseling approach that addresses the patterns of communication and relationship that connects people to each other and to their social and physical environments. It sees the behavior affecting the entire family, so it addresses the entire family for resolution. Without addressing the entire family, you're not taking care of the problem. This pattern varies from counselor to counselor and from group to group. Alderian and multi-generational in concept, the family theory is one that is being used even more in particularly alcohol and drug rehabilitation and counseling and other areas where communication needs are wanted. This concludes our lesson on these theories of counseling, and next week we will move into more of the pastoral counseling theories.